I was never one for good grades. Ever since I was young, my teachers told me I had so much potential, but I could do better or that I was too lazy. When we got our grade results in primary school, my mom would come home furious. I try not to cry about my low grades, but of course I felt bad about it and wish I could turn back the clock and study instead of falling behind and sleeping in class. My mom would lecture me when we arrived at home. How can a primary school student manage to get such low grades, you ask? Simple. Sleep, cry, and get bullied for it. Of course, there were times that I managed to get good grades, but without credit, which lowered my self-esteem. I was that one girl in class that everyone assumed as a slacker, and that one girl in class who nobody wanted to hang out with, but still managed to get friends later. Moving forward in junior high school, I did better with grades, but still was below the class. Still, teachers would complain and state that I could do better, and yeah, I could do better, but when you're hiding your emotions, feeling that you're not good enough, being told that you're not good enough, doesn't benefit your situation. Anyway, the answer to why this information is liberating is because almost any student can agree that school education sucks the life out of students rather than grant knowledge. Now, before I conclude my remark, hear me out. If you ask a bunch of students what goals they have for school, the probable answer would be to score the ideal grades in order to get into a university so they can get a job for a successful life. School suggests that if a student gets higher grades than others, they're most likely to succeed. Exams depict that students grasp the information that is given in class, and most teachers overwork their students or just really don't care about their students. For those specific reasons, schools have officially lost the title of learning how to self-start and learn how to recover from failure. Today's school education is depicted as somewhere that helps you get a successful career that leads to a happy life. But what about those with mental issues? Is it really a happy life to have a highly paid job, not to mention a big house and a family according to society's stereotypes? Let's talk about mental health for a second. How many of you were educated about mental illnesses apart from university or psychology majors? Because I wasn't. Yes, there were times when school have brought up the issue of depression, but other than that, nothing much was added. Nobody mentioned DID, dissociative identity disorder. Nobody even talked about the normal human mechanism called anxiety with anxiety disorder or disordered anxiety. Clearly, there are more mental illnesses that need to be taught and specified to students. My personal belief is that there needs to be a therapist or a psychologist in every school available for any student, no matter who they are, what they are, no matter if they struggle with bipolar disorder or anxiety disorder, or just really want to get some stuff out of their chest and they don't have someone who is emotionally available to talk to. If there was mental support, school bullying could be at least limited. Bullying essentially comes from childhood, insecurity-related, and other mental issues. It might be a coping mechanism for the victimizer, but even so, it's unhealthy and may cause more harm to both sides. Otherness could constitute a breeding ground for bullying to take place. An example could be people with different sexual orientation. Why do people need to get judged just by their differences? Why does it have to be bad to be different? What is wrong with being gay, bisexual, asexual, Black, Asian? Love is love. Nobody in this world could ever change that. I have met lots of people who are part of the LGBTQ+ community, and being part of it myself, I learned that some people may not accept what you are, but in the end, you don't need acceptance to be who you are. I want to say that loving who you are is the most important thing in life. I suppose a lot of us forget that at some point in their lives. If people don't accept you, then just ignore them. There are lots of people that might accept who you are and what you want to be. I wish schools would teach this to us, and I'm kind of upset that this isn't normalized at schools. Lots of gender identities haven't been acknowledged by schools. To my knowledge, I believe there are more than 64 genders out there, like agender, cisgender, and so on. I'm just going to state the obvious by saying these are just as important as the genders of females and males. So this is another thing that schools have failed to provide. Has a teacher come up to you telling you men can't be feminist? A guy friend of mine experienced this before. We were in class talking about feminism. This is where the teacher steps in and says to the poor boy, men shouldn't be feminists. This is a toxic masculinity issue. Long story short, toxic masculinity involves the idea of manliness that perpetuates homophobia, domination, and aggression. Why did I list all these pieces of information and topics, you ask? It's because school should be a place where you learn more about yourself and test your creativity, and basically pick up everyday challenges from cooking to paying bills and other stuff that you need to know about life. But it seems school doesn't satisfy that model. So when my mom asks me why I'm procrastinating instead of doing my homework, to that I want to say, Mom, I know you all care and love me and you want to see me succeed in life. But when you get told you are not good enough in every school you go to, it makes you want to give up on everything. Mom, school taught me how to solve equations, but didn't teach me how to not be a failure. Mom, I procrastinate because every time I open a textbook, I feel totally stupid as if being in a breakdown. Now I reached the second year of high school. I've been told that I'm a good student, but I don't believe that. I don't remember anything from the paragraphs or chapters in philosophy class. Not to mention, I got a 3 out of 20 on an exam I really worked hard on studying. School taught me that I'm a failure, and now at a pandemic, there's more pressure than ever before. Having received almost 9-hour assignments, some students, believe it or not, are mentally tired, unable to get out of bed due to lack of motivation. So they decide to attend online classes in bed. Or there are other times that they find it impossible to continue. Some parents even comment on their kids like, if you're acting like that now, I can't imagine how you'll act on a job. I hate that sentence. The fact that you go your way to compare adulthood with teenagers is vile. Both of them have different difficulties, different life lessons. So comparing them is pointless. The only thing I want from this speech is to get the message out there that students are trying their best to do great in school while fighting with insomnia, breakdowns, and lots of self-doubting and suffering. If you saw through your child's fake smile, you would understand that they're tired in more ways than one, while you can't recognize the same pain as them. The storm of this pandemic is going to end sooner or later. But I don't know if I could say the same thing about our education system errors and paradigms. When will our education system change at last? Thank you.